as soon as he receives that pledge, he's going to have very few supporters. Like I mentioned, I came across hadith, their numbers equal the number of the people who helped Talut and the numbers of those who were with the Prophet in Badr. 317:21 based on the narration that you want to use here. Now, brothers and sisters in Islam, also Sufyani, the second, immediately he will send an army from Iraq, in another wording from Syria, it doesn't matter. Remember the army who will be swallowed on earth? Now until this time, by the way, there is no legitimate piece of evidence to oblige any Muslim to give the pledge to this Khalifa until this very moment. Because the news of this landslide, the army that will be swallowed in the desert, in the Arabian Peninsula, will reach everybody. Now you have no excuse not to follow him. You have to go, and that's where the Prophet said, what? Crawl. You have to, because he's going to need your help big time. Because beside the internal turmoil, the internal unrest and the power vacuum and power struggle and the fighting, somehow that Sufyani and others made a deal with the Romans to fight a common enemy, and they conquered. Now, or maybe the sixth caliph did that, I don't know, maybe that's a scenario. And when they're coming down from the battle, a Roman will raise the cross and say, the cross has conquered. We conquered because of the help of the cross, Jesus, the Trinity. A Muslim will say, no, Allah is the source of وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Victory comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that would what? Lead to the turmoil, which is al-malhama, which is the fierce battle. Now, as soon as al-Mahdi hears about this European, Western, Roman, Christian, because the Zionists right now, they are in Asfahan. And those who stayed in Palestine, they pay the tax, the jizya, or some of them accepted Islam, became Muslims. So we're talking about Christians now. That coalition between the Zionist and the evangelical, which is happening now in our world, will diminish, will no longer exist. Now, brothers and sisters in Islam, they will gather in Syria under 80 flags. Each flag would contribute entity 12,000. So that's 960,000 members of the army, just fighting force. So now al-Mahdi has to go and fight this army. So until now, he's not even in Baytul Maqdis. You see, Baytul Maqdis is the khilaf, because that's where the confusion is. A lot of people are having this confusion. That's how it's sorted out. I tell you, I enjoyed working on this series. Jazakumullahu khairan for encouraging me. I truly enjoyed working on it. You know, subhanAllah, sometimes you just discover that you didn't know so many things. And that confirms that the more you know, the more you discover that you actually don't know. So now he's going to march to fight this army, which is called al-Malhama.